All right, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to York Community High School for boys high school lacrosse, the first one that we're doing, and this is going to be fun.
That it is. I mean, we've now one of the many assets of York athletics, but especially the lacrosse team. You see that in the cross-country team consistently performing, especially this year. A lot of hype leading up to this team.
Yeah, that was based off of, I believe, Illinois True Lacrosse, who had that poll out. And then it's a little spotty on where we are. It's just the case on how it is. And last night York had a win over St. Ignatius, a 19-3 win. A quick turnaround for this York team.
We've seen these kids dominate since their freshman year. Plenty of Will Siegenthaler's father, who had 6 goals on Wednesday at Hinsdale Central.
There is Charlie Torreja. Siegenthaler, like you mentioned, he rolled his ankle last night. We'll see how much time he gets. There's just one of the Riegers. That is
Andon.
Yeah, Andon Rieger. Special talent. Torreja. Moving back around. Tonight in net, I believe it is Patty Tools. There's a shot that just goes wide of the net by San Juan. I believe it's Patty Tool in that. Last night it was Connor Selfridge as Patty Tool was at football.
So, goalies on the roster. I mean, there's really no holes on this York team. See, they've held possession for the entirety of this one so far.
Torreo weaves his way in and misses on that. He'll go down with Downer South now. But the defense is really good, led out by E.J. Espinoza. He's got the black and red lacrosse temple going to Kenyon. And so much more talent just on this defense.
Man, Espinoza is such a mauler. Been on varsity since junior now. He'll be here again next year. I mean, he's a beast out there. He really is.
And it's kind of weird because he is a very intelligent kid, as that's a turnover for Downer South. He'll go the other way. He's a very intelligent kid. He's a very humble kid. You don't expect him to play a sport like lacrosse.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be playing varsity lacrosse this year. I was like, are you serious? He was not joking. I mean,
no, he was not.
He is a beast.
He is something fun to watch out there, too, especially on defense. And there's York moving on. There's Blake, Lance McCann. Up and around. Still not seen a Siegenthaler. There's a shot on net saved by the Downer South goalie.
I see the goalie all the way in the corner. Definitely not a position they wanted to be in there, but he's able to get it back to the crease.
It's a little weird seeing him out there in the corner.
Yeah, they had to have a deep hole cover the net. Now the first reel on his team.
York with their defense, they've got really good middies out there as well. You mentioned Andon and Blake Rieger, 22 and 28. As there's a shot, there's a save, and there is Oza. It looks like it might be Selfridge and net, so it's going to be his third start. I did see Tool out there. He was getting some reps early.
Yeah, Andon running the tack, not midi, but it's what he's been known for. Surprised to not see him at X. I'm sure they'll rotate him over here. Yes, they do.
along the crease.
Next spot. Andon Rieger gets himself on the board and gets the Dukes up to an early 1-0 lead. I mean, Bobby, we've seen nothing but aggression from this Dukes team. Downers had one lousy offensive possession, but this has been the storyline so far, total domination.
Well, it was a quick start by them. You push it down low, and that just took basically 4 minutes off the clock, a little over 3. Again, you're going to have face-off out there with Trey, who will take the face-off. He's one of the premier face-off guys. He just takes it and he runs with it. Here comes Torreja back down the other way looking for a quick goal.
Odd man rush. Rieger trying for his second, just wide.
So it's going to stay with York. A nice play by Ryan Wolf to get his stick out there, trying to say that he was the closest to getting it, competing with the Downer South goalie. And San Juan. San Juan, a small little guy out there too. Not the tallest, but he is quick.
Oh my goodness.
That's a great shot there by Chase McNeil. 21 in white, and he scores for his second goal of the afternoon.
That was just, I mean, that was lethal. Right hand to left hand to right hand to left hand. I mean, he got the whole team looking at him, just went through that entire Downers defense. Made the goal look easy.
Right, got it up there, made it work.
Now, it looks like that's Boyd Puckett taking Dukes.
He is one of the other face-off guys that this York team has to go along with Charlie Torreja. Boyd Puckett, not the premier face-off guy, but he is still a good one, too. Showing you why he couldn't corral it, and Downer South would take it the other way.
This is a huge possession for Downer South. We have to see if they have the ability to control the ball. You see the York defense always so aggressive.
Well, a sloppy
and it forces
pass.
the turnover.
There's a sloppy pass that goes out, goes with York. And
they will waste no time.
Reed Landgren.
So ripped from him at the midline.
The premier guy that you would want bring up the ball. You would much rather have a guy with a shorter stick.
Correct. I mean, definitely not what you're looking for there. It doesn't look like they have any defensive middies out there. So definitely looking to get it in a hand of a regular midi there. But, I mean, if you've got the momentum, you've got to take it. Couldn't hold on to the ball.
Maybe 8 yards away from the crease. Now attempts to drive in. And another bad pass.
It looks like they're offsides, yeah.
That was offsides. Number 9 came across just early. And now York.
Mistake you can make there from Danny Griefhunt. You got to be able to know where that 50-yard line is.
It's not hard to miss, and it looked like he was looking down to see and thought, oh, might be able to get away with it. Not the case. York back the other way.
See, running the point out there, Seamus Wicklow, only everyone some minutes. Lacrosse, such a tiring sport. I mean, everyone gets out there.
Yeah, Seamus Wicklow just won a 2 freshman. The other one, Blake Rieger, that we mentioned of earlier.
There's really not a weak spot on this team. Everyone contributes, and everyone does it well. We haven't seen much of Siegenthaler thus far, likely playing it safe, as you mentioned, with that injury.
He rolled his ankle last night. It's St. Ignatius. Did not play much, if any, in the second half. It was just primarily, it was just him kind of standing there getting attention from the trainer, and you see him standing over there on the sideline.
Let's see if Downers could do something with his possession. Andy Pitts quick to give it up. Seems like no one wants to go into the crease against these just York defenders that just look like they wanted more. They're bigger, they're stronger. They're really giving Downers a hard time of getting anywhere near the net.
The good thing about York is they're so large defensively. If Reed, you have Espinoza, he's not the tallest guy, but he's a big guy out there as well. As there's Josh Temple behind the net, hacking away at Downer South.
It's a good job by Cal Reynolds to be able to maintain that Downers possession. Went down, was able to hold on to the ball, get back to near the crease. Just didn't see him. He had an open backdoor cut there that could have resulted in a goal. Menzione drops the ball.
Just another good hacking. Downer South timeout. And we'll come back. It's 2-0. Out of the timeout, Downers South will try to get. So we talk about Downers South. They were trying to get into the crease, and Josh Temple was down there. He was hacking away behind the net at one of those guys. It's difficult to get down there with this York defense.
Certainly is. You see Patrick St. Clair out there now with a deep hole, and he is doing work.
Yeah, he's one of those long stick midi guys that you can do multiple things with. And Downers South tried to get into the crease, and Espinoza was right there to say, nope, that's not happening.
Yeah, and St. Clair nearly with the pickoff. I mean, this Downers team's having a hard time getting anything going. It's Duke's possession yet again.
I don't think Selfridge has seen a shot yet, and I would not say for good reason, but the defense tremendous.
Absolutely. They're not going to be the best of one. Should be easier saves for Selfridge.
Downers South prides them in their defense. They had 3 goals on Wednesday versus Oak Park. Allowed, that is. They only scored 8, however. There's Boyd Puckett.
And, I mean, another problem that could come down the line here with its Downers South team, you'd like to see them get off to a fast start. You look at the sizes of the benches out there. Downers South has, 4 guys standing there. Lacrosse is a sport where you're going to need a big bench. You see the Dukes use the entire bench during the entirety of the game. This Downers South team certainly already getting tired, especially the middies just running the length of the field again and again. With such a small bench, if you want to be able to stay in the game, you'd like to see them get done here.
McCann drives in and he scores. Lance McCann, again, one of the sophomores. He had 4 goals last night and jumps off to a quick start with the goal to make it 3-0 York.
Let me tell you, that Lance McCann kid is real. He's been groomed through that Elmhurst lacrosse program. I mean, there was no doubt in anyone's mind my freshman year when he was coming up the next year. I mean, it was just already known he was on varsity. The coaches were talking like he was already part of the team.
Absolutely. The way he's built, he's easily 6'6", and he's a wiry, very strong. He's very quick, and he moves fast. And the fact that he plays midi, but he can also play like an attack and defense, he's the whole package.
And only a sophomore. He'll be on this Duke team for 2 years to go. So face-off won by the Dukes, but they have a trouble getting the possession.
Torreja looked like he had trouble with that. In York, they don't want to get caught offsides here. They won't. Torreja drives inside. A bad pass as he tried to get it down low to Wolf. Couldn't happen, but there's Ryder Matson behind.
He is so good at that. Ryder always finding a way to get possession of the ball, keeping it with the Dukes, and he gives a great crease feed. That's a goal. I mean, that's textbook right there. Ryder finds the backdoor cutter going towards the crease. I think that was Blake Rieger. That it was. Blake Rieger picks up his first goal. Ryder Maston with a beautiful backdoor feed. Duke's on top 4-0 with 3:17 to go in the first.
A special thing, York team, like you mentioned, Ryder, he easily, it's just the way he is. And him as an attack is something special. It doesn't look like he's starting out there for attack. He might be down low by the crease. Drew Kircher out there for attack as Torreja wins this face-off.
Yeah, that's Ryder playing the X. That's definitely his position. Him and Andon Rieger likely will be at that position all game until they get out of hand and they let some youth get in the game. But they always run the X. For any newer viewers for lacrosse, that's where you play if you're behind the net most of the game. Kind of the facilitator of the offense, and it looks like they're trying to get it to him here. Is trying to shift over to X, which is his preferred position.
Trying to drive. There's Kircher. Thought about a shot, didn't shoot. And York just moves it along the crease looking for something now. There's San Juan again.
By the Dukes, you see so many times, as that's a good save from Downers. You've seen so many times this game, the Dukes maybe have a hard time to get a shot on goal, but they just do a great job of keeping the possession. And that really keeps the pressure on this defense and goalie of Downers South. Just nearly a turnover.
Yeah, they try to beat that goalie 5-hole. Goalie stick save. That's another bad pass, and we'll go down with York. And that's something that, down in South, you limit the bad passes. That won't be the case for you, but York is going to force those bad passes by playing the...
Yeah, it's much easier.
Yeah, that's what they did versus Ignatius and Hinsdale Central those first two games. What they did really well was they keep the ball in their end. Defense and their goalie just to get exhausted. As Ryan Wolf spins out of it, thought about a chance, didn't.
Good feed from Ryan Wolf.
That's another goal. That is Andon Rieger, his second of the game with 1:27 left. And AJ, it was just a nice feed by Wolf and just an even better shot by Andon. Bounced it and got it to go.
And you hate to ditch that, but you've got to wonder. I'm sure the gas is starting to kick in for this Downers team because they just let Wolf get all the way down the field, no contention. He was just walking by the sideline, didn't even really attempt to push him out, let the Dukes regain their energy, and really gave up that open goal to Andon Rieger.
Well, they just wear you down. They flattened him, forced the midfielder to crawl off the field. Was not a penalty, matter of fact. It was a legal hit. That shows what York can do. Now, the only way York is going to lose some of these games is they come out flat and they don't. There's mental mistakes.
Absolutely. It's going to be rough for them to find. They'd have to find a way to lose against a team like Downers. You look later on against the schedule. They play some of the premier teams. They still have New Trier. They still have Loyola. Those have been teams in Illinois that have been known for their lacrosse program since the sport has really blown up. But York is really cementing their name with the Neuqua Valleys, with the, oh my goodness, that's just a mistake from Downers. They had possession. The deep hole just decided to slide it back in front of the crease, and that's just a free goal for the Dukes to go up 6-0 in the first.
That was a great goal by Matson. It didn't go in right away. It just kind of had to rattle around and fall in. York will have another face-off with 6 minutes. I don't think Downers South has won a single face-off. And last night, the guys on their way back, they were talking about this Downers South team. It's not a large team, but they've got a few good players. Those are the players you kind of have to watch, and they've kept the whole team really in check. But also, it's pretty easy to do when they just have 5 guys on that bench compared to York, who's got triple that.
Absolutely. It's only the first quarter. You already see the tiredness factor wearing in big in this one. So the Dukes will likely be able to continue to capitalize on that. And if Downers wants any chance, they've got to get better on these face-offs. The Dukes are just out hustling them. They're starting every single drive with the possession, as they do again here.
Yeah, it was Troy Walker who just could not get the ball. Now York will kind of reset, slow things down with 32 seconds.
I see Aiden Wicklow out there running the point. Bunch of juniors on this team. Really every grade level on this Dukes team.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the time you see a younger squad and you don't expect greatness, but that is not the case here. This Dukes team, they're letting these kids on the team just because they've been groomed so well by their programs. True, New Wave, all the above, and really, these kids are dominant. It's hard for me to see 3 losses on this Dukes schedule. It really is.
Some of these teams in conference, they think they can be the best conference team, and that is the opening quarter, 6-0 York. So York got 6 goals. A lot of them were just almost give-me goals at that point, but either way, a great start for the Dukes. They lead 6-0 at the end of one here on YSN.
Has she done it in a meet yet? Yeah. They had a scan bar. Yeah, whatever it's called, and then you ask a few questions and you're done. And I thought I.
Back to the start of the second quarter. St. Ignatius 19-3, and we talked about the mental mistakes. Last night, two of Ignatius' goals came when they were a man up. If they limit the mental mistakes, it's almost like they don't have a chance to lose.
And you could tell this York team's hungry. Of course, last season got cut short right before it got off the mark. The sectional semifinals to Naperville North 7-1 back in 2019. A lot of these guys, these seniors and the juniors, Siegenthaler, Madsen, and Espinosa, they've been waiting for this for 3 years now, and they're just raring to go, and you could tell they're having no mercy on their opponents.
We'd always think that last year, Evan Rieger, and then you mix that with Harrison Pratt. Harrison Pratt was a tremendous goal scorer. I believe his junior year, he had 30 or 40 goals. He was in the upper 30s for sure. And they would have wanted to get that sour taste out of their mouth. Granted, you would have not had Blake or Seamus Wicklow, but you would have still had Lance McCann, as there's a shot that missed by Torreya, and Downer South player is hurt.
And you mentioned Blake and Blake Reese Wicklow. Interestingly enough, those are two younger brothers of two juniors on the team,
Right.
Aiden and Andon.
It's kind of funny how that works. And that makes it really easy on the parents. That's like, okay, well, at least all my kids are at the same practice, same game. Don't have to worry about that.
That's what happens when you have talented children in the
Exactly.
sport of lacrosse. Looks like he's getting up. I didn't see it clearly. I think he got hit with the ball.
Either he got hit with the ball or he got the tail end of Torreya's stick.
Off under his own power. Probably a stinger there. Downers really can't afford to lose another player.
Bench, and that will just gas you. Running back and forth. Granted, your defense and your attack is going to be well rested because they aren't getting any action down here.
Dang.
Neal and Chase McNeil, Ryan Wolf is just Charlie Trade is one of multiple seniors on this team that have been 3 years or more. Temple, the only one that's a fourth-year senior, or fourth year on varsity, that is. If he was a fourth-year senior, that would be
unfair.
Very unfair.
22-year-old on the York varsity team. That would probably explain the signal 10:34 to go in the second.
It would. York being going a little more conservative with time here now. Drives in. Kirch's shot just wide of the left.
That was a great feed. I mean, they teach you when you're right in front of the goal like that. That's what the coaches love to tell you in the York lacrosse program. If you shoot overhand, the worst you're going to do is bounce it in front of the goalie. He chose to go underhand like that. It resulted in it going a bit wide.
It's pretty interesting seeing the black lacrosse nets. Those were redone as San scores. Aiden San Juan, another great feed. Instead of him going under, he went over, and that ended up working. A little more control. It is a 7-0.
And you see all these fun lacrosse players at the next level. Paul Rabel comes to mind. All these guys shooting sidearm, shooting underhand. I'll tell you, that's in the first team. First thing the coaches are going to tell you is that if you have an open look like that, just shoot it overhand, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to take a bouncer at the goalie, and a lot of times that's harder to save than a snipe to one of the corners.
Let's see if Down or South will win a face-off. No, instead Downer South went too early.
And that's interesting. I mean, Downer South has number 21 out there on the face-off. I mean, that's a defensive midi running the face-off. Don't see that too often. That's Xander Johnson with a long pull running face-off. I mean, that is not easy to do. Maybe they're trying to he's here down 7 with plenty of time to go.
You know, maybe he's a really good face-off guy, but you're right. You don't see that too often. Out in front of the net, Matson shot, saved. And a deep pull is going to get it and run up.
That's what Downer's been needing to do. That is not what they've been needing. They've had a really hard time receiving the York stick, and it does again. The goalie's got to do a better job of finding a man, which he did there. The goalie got it to number 11, Kyle Gilek, but for some reason he had an open lane but decided to throw it back to the goalie, which almost resulted in an easy York goal.
Now York the other way, looking for their 8th goal of the afternoon. That's Malevchuk. His shot goes right into the goalie's.
Nice hit there. Sweeping from behind, junior Drew Kircher. You know, Bobby, we've said his name a lot this year announcing basketball. 2-sport varsity athlete, both of which he was on varsity as a sophomore. And he's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. Not a starter now. I'm sure he will be probably next season, but he's a special talent too. See what he can do with the attack and midi. Much more of an attack than a midi, but either way.
The Downer South goalie is starting to get his footing a little bit more here. Couple back-to-back saves. They just got to be able to capitalize on them. I mean, you can only get so many saves. Tiny ball going hundreds of miles an hour off the stick of people like Wicklow. He was doing that in 8th grade at the good old mile-an-hour test, and that shot's just saved. Wow. Duke's got a lot of shots on it.
Downer South the other way.
That's what they've been needing to do. Get it to a short stick from the goalie. Gives them a chance in transition. They're finally able to do it as they find Bryce Peak over them. Let you get in there. Field, and they've done a great job maintaining that defensive style in this one.
That's what Espinoza has done really well. He's been much more on that right side of the net. And he forced a turnover right there.
Sometimes you watch Espinosa, you just know the guy on the shot. I mean, he's aggressive. He's a mauler. He just ripped that ball from him. That's a lousy turnover from the Dukes, giving Downers a chance to get something going here.
Now Downer South goalie will bring it up. And that would have been a really bad turnover for Downer South as Kircher was right there. Brandon Walker along playing defense. Hasn't played much due to football.
Recovery on the sideline there. Andy Pitts nearly turns it over. And Espinosa causes another turnover. Oh, drops it himself. Nearly gets it out of bounds, but able to get it right back.
It's a little difficult to really cradle the ball with such a long stick. It's much easier with the short stick. You got much easier control.
And that's one of those things that he doesn't stop next year. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Troy Walker has just always been so great at that. He's been running defensive midi now for a couple years. I mean, he almost uses that long stick to his advantage. You don't see it often, but he uses it out in front of him so people can't reach him. He's everybody else. He's great with the defensive stick. And we've seen very limited play from him in this one. Duke's just with so much depth. They have so many players that you could talk about all day. It's hard to mention them all, but I mean, this team's going to be special for years to come. I mean, with Lance McCann running the show, this team's going to be nearly just as good as it is right now.
Another timeout. It's been a much quieter second quarter for the Dukes. 7-0, but 5:02 left. We'll have a timeout. Downer South probably needs it, being so gassed. We'll take a timeout ourselves here on YSN. Out of the timeout, 5:02 left. York will start with the ball. They have done a really good second half. Or in the second quarter, rather, that is. There's Ryan Wolf.
Yeah, you could tell they've stepped away from the fire strategy of just putting goals in. They've been doing a great job just holding possession in the zone, already up 7.
I think that went off the helmet of the goal shot by Ryan Wolf. There's Blake Rieger, moves it along to Lance McCann. And Ryan Wolf again, he'll be playing lacrosse at the next level.
Oh, Duke's playing by that strategy right now. If they don't score, they can't lose. Duke's up by 7. They're holding the ball in the offensive zone and doing a good job of it, taking a couple whackings from the deep pulls, but it doesn't faze them. They're continuing to maintain 4:12 left in the second quarter. Duke's still up by 7.
Drew drives in, goes high on the goalie, and he scores again. First one, he went low. That time, he made the goal.
It's only going to end well for the shooter. And it leads to the Dukes now up 8-0. I mean, this is just a massacre at the York Dukes facility.
Well, if the final score is 8-0, they would not be pleased with that. I would tell you that right now. Just the way they are, they know they can score 20 a game. They know that. Okay, it's down to south. This is just momentum building for the later games this year versus Loyola.
Loyola. Those two are the powerhouses. You also see Neuqua Valley up in that conversation as of late, but New Trier and Loyola really ran lacrosse in Illinois for really trying to cement their name amongst those 2 or 3. If you want to put Neuqua in there as well, I think they certainly deserve it. And the Dukes are really making a case to do so. You see the freshman teams consistently playing well. The last time they had a freshman season, it was an undefeated one. And you see the varsity team only dropping a few games, still undefeated up until this point. It'll be very fun to watch them versus Loyola.
It will, and most of these players are from saying, let's get the western suburbs. Matson just sniped that goalie.
And that is why Ryder is so special, and I would be shocked to not see him play at the college level.
Right.
Kid is an absolute beast. Just lowers the shoulders, takes it underhand, and just snipes the corner. You could tell he's taking that shot thousands of times. His dad and Will Siegenthaler's dad, partial founders of the Elmhurst Lacrosse League, which is so many of these kids give it credit to what made them fall in love with the sport. And Maston gets the Dukes up 9-0 with 3:22 to go in the second.
We'll take a quick break. It is down or south, heads into a timeout. 3:22 left here on YSN.
Saturday morning, watching the kids play. I guess we can't call him a kid much longer, huh?
3:22. York has done. York just scored, so now they will bring the. Well, they'll have a face-off, which most likely they'll win. The way they've played, Downers South has not. I've won a face-off yet.
They've shown they're certainly above nearly every team in this area's skill level. So if you're looking to grow on this, you're looking to improve for next time. I mean, the Dukes were certainly not always this going to build something like the Dukes did. It's really going to start with the basics, and it's going to start with looking at what you did wrong in this one. I think a lot of it comes down to holding on to the possession, and when you get the saves, to go to a successful clear, because every time they try to get past the midline, like we just saw there, the Dukes get possession.
There's Brandon Walker who will bring it up outside the creases. Selfridge was one who cleared it. How they didn't feel like they had successful clears. They felt like they had, it was a little sloppy, and they said if we want to beat some of these good teams, we have to be much more sharp coming out of the gate, and they thought they haven't had their best performance yet. I'm sure versus this Downers South team, but you don't know, are they saving that later down the line? Possibly. But it'd be great for them just to rattle off a few straight wins, build some confidence heading into the much tougher part of the schedule, which really begins in just a few weeks.
Absolutely. This season's going to go a bit into the summer. It goes past the education period for the Dukes. A lot of these guys last ride. I mean, I think we're going to see them make a serious run here. If they could even compete with Loyola, this is going to be an extremely, extremely fun ride.
The one thing York's thing, it's more of the IHSA that, yeah, we'll let you do sectionals. We're just not sold on state yet, which doesn't make the most sense.
That's a huge blow for the Dukes. I mean, you'd expect them to be serious contenders for state. This is just absolutely big.
Another York goal now puts them at double digits with 1:21 to go.
That almost blew a hole through the net. That was a really fiery shot. Hard to save a goal like that high, and it was on full display there. Duke's up by 10 now, still shutting out this Downers team. I mean, it has just been, I don't want to keep using the word, but there's another way to describe this in a massacre. This just hasn't even been.
Now, if that was the case, they would have to redo the net. The net was white 24 hours ago. It wasn't black. They redid the whole netting last night into this morning. I want to say the black looks pretty cool with the orange.
Are you sure these aren't just two new nets?
No, I saw them actually.
That is interesting. I agree. I think the black does look pretty cool. Also makes it easier to tell if it's a goal or not, the white on white.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one.
Wow.
York just scored within 18 seconds to make it 11-0. I believe that was Andon Rieger who got his third of the afternoon.
And no Will today. One of the Duke's best players isn't even out there, and they're still just dominating 11-0 here.
I think that's a really good thing for Willie. Okay, I can take the ankle a little bit lightly, and York knows they'll have a game on Monday versus IC, but really interesting.
Sorry, we're just being asked for a lineup. Dukes win a quick face-off there, and it's going quick. Looks like they might score again. They do. Take it all the way. He fakes the pass.
Won the face-off. He's like, you know what? No one's going to stop me here. Make it 12-0. He did that in 6 seconds.
And you could see the fatigue wearing in for Downers. I mean, obviously they're already down. Even if it's the same situation, no one had the energy there to chase down Tereha. I guess the Dukes a 12-0 lead.
12-0 will be something. I'm sure for York, they would consider it as a great account.
And I think that's a great mentality. There's always something to build on. There's always something to improve upon. They keep their heads hung high, but they also make sure to continue to push, and that's what they're going to do right here.
It's a great pass by Troy Walker to find Boyd Puckett. Just kind of floated it up there.
That's what they had Troy out there for. He runs right off the field. Extra short stick in for this offensive attack.
Back on the post that supports the goalpost.
Now it's Madsen running X, trying to find someone open. The X in lacrosse is really a lot like the quarterback in football. They run the offense. They let it all. They get to look and they get to make the read. They get to pick who they want to pass to, who's cutting to the crease. They want to reset the offense, cradle it themselves. They really do it all, and that's why it's so great that the Dukes have two great players at Axon, Madsen, and Rieger.
Chase McNeil split two defenders who moved it up to Andon Rieger.
Great swim dodge by McNeil. I mean, he's on the ground, able to get up, put the arm over, and get through two guys.
Madsen drives and
Wow. I mean, that was...
falling to the ground. Ryder Madsen buries it to make it a 13-0 game.
That was unreal. I mean, falling backwards, cradles it once, fakes top left, goes top right. That was beautiful. That really was. I mean, that was just what a goal.
Ford continued to build on it with 4.7. That's how the last multiple games have gone. So it's most likely just going to be a face-off, and whoever wins it will just kind of hold it and let it run out.
This is the second straight blowout of night. Dukes won 49-0 over Romeoville. First winning season since 2011, I believe.
It's been 10 years. It's hard to believe.
And that's a huge team. Coach Fitzgerald, big win there last night, and they really never had a chance. Of course, the story was at the last play of the game, Matt Lupo went down. No word on him yet. Hopefully all is okay. Man, but halftime here in this one, Duke's on top 13-0. Bobby, we've witnessed an absolute blowout. I'm not even going to ask you if they had a chance, but looking to future games, looking to how this Downers team can build on what's happening right now, what do they need to do to be able to compete with?
Well, you're going up against a really competitive York squad, but it's 13-0 at the half, and we'll take a break. I believe it's 10 minutes.
And Downers will definitely take get that energy back off. Duke's doing something on the sideline. We'll see if they have a new spurts of energy out of the half. Duke's 13, Downers South nothing in 7 minutes. York Sports Network, your place for all York sports.
start of the second half, 13-0, and I'm not sure if we'll see running clock start now or if we're going to see that start in the fourth quarter. But York last night, they only had one goal in the third quarter, but they only allowed one. But again, they had control of the ball for about, I think, 9 minutes in their end. So not too much was, really happening. It was a really boring quarter, but
Oh, man. Not too much was happening. I like that.
and then they brought in a few of the subs, and the subs were like, okay, we'll just have a 6-goal quarter again, and that's how they won 19-3. York with their first half shutout of the season, and comes against Downers South. We are ready to go. Torrejo wins the faceoff, and let's see, is he going to go the whole distance and score?
It's a good pass. It's a good feed. Easy goal. 8 seconds into the half, and it looks like the clock will continue to run. So
Yep.
It is a running clock. Right decision there. No need to continue to pour it on. I mean, honestly, Bobby, that was I'm going to say it. I think that was the best goal of the day. We've seen flashy goals from Ryder Madsen, and we've seen absolute snipes from Rieger, but that was a textbook goal. They went down. They trusted their teammates. Pass, shoot. I mean, that's as easy as it's going to get. You have a one-on-one with the goalie. You're not going to miss that at the varsity level. That was just textbook, and that was done perfectly.
Yeah, well executed, to say the least, and that running clock is going to come into effect, so it'll be a much quicker second half.
Theoretically, the second half shouldn't be more than a half hour with 12-minute quarters running clock.
I think it even runs during timeouts too, so that's really good. It'll just stop at the quarter, which is that's about like 2 minutes.
So here's Chase McNeil now. The Duke's continuing to pour it on, not showing any signs of stopping.
But the real good thing about York is that they are fine that Siegenthaler has been set. He's sat there the whole time. He's just rested the ankle, and he's taking it cautiously.
Looks like he was dressed to play, possibly, just in case anything were to happen, but
He was. I talked to him before the game, and he was like, we're just going to see. We'll see how warm-ups goes. Obviously didn't get the nod to start his.
no need to play him through an injury in a 14-0 lead.
Don't want to make anything worse.
Good decision by Canfield. Siegenthaler will be a huge piece later on. And another goal. Andon Rieger gets his fourth.
Andon Rieger with his fourth goal to make it 15-0. As this is something special that we're seeing going on right now. I don't even think Downers South has a backup goalie in mind.
No, they have one on the roster. And all respect to the goalie, he hasn't done terribly.
He's made a lot of great saves, but he hasn't gotten help from his defense.
Exactly. He's a lot of these York goals have came one-on-one with the goalie, and that's hard to do. It really is. It's hard enough to save a lacrosse ball. It's even harder when the defense is just letting the Dukes prance right in front of the crease.
And also with that, the defense hasn't forced any York turnovers to get the ball into the Duke's end and, make Selfridge feel uncomfortable in that. As Puckett had the face-off, and now Troy Walker with that long stick of his.
Since he took it over himself, he fakes it. Walker, that's got a sting. Hits it right off the goalie's leg. Tell you what, at the freshman level, Troy easily could have at least been up on the JV team. He was playing down freshman his freshman year just to play with his classmates. He did that every single game. He would just come all the way through. No one could get it from him, just rip it on net. That's what he's known for. He transitioned to deep hole midway through the season, and he hasn't looked back, and it was definitely the right decision for him.
Kolaski is at that 30-yard line. He'll hold it. He's gotten a lot of good playing time for him being one of 3 sophomores. There's the other one. Lance McCann weaves his way in.
Oh, that was
rang it off the post.
It almost looked backhand. He was holding that stick funny.
He did. I'm sure he's going to want that one right back.
Got to have a lot of confidence to shoot like that. I mean, why not up by 15? Maybe we'll see some more cool highlights from these Dukes. We've seen plenty of them already. He wanted it. He wanted to rip it, but takes to pass it off. There's the rip over the goal. Rieger's the closest to it. It'll be York ball.
Yeah, Blake was one who thought about firing it, gave it up to Lance, and Lance, being such a strong kid, fires it on net and just missed it as Ryder saves it, didn't corral correctly. He's so quick with his feet to move around and make some of these defenders look goofy. It's something fun to watch.
Kolaski again. Gonna make a move. He blows right past him. You can see the fatigue is really kicking in, able to give it off. That's a deep shot. Wow, I mean, that looked like it was inside the radius of the goal. Took a funny hop, went out. But once again, the Dukes have the energy to chase it down and get the ball. Anyone new to lacrosse, whoever's closest to the out-of-bounds line, that's who receives the ball. It's not if you throw it out, it's the other team's ball. And the Dukes have had the energy to chase that down. And another goal.
Drew Kircher with another goal to make it 16-0. I seriously think it'll be 20. York trying to get their first 20 of the year. And I've watched lacrosse for a few years at the high school level. I've never seen 20 been put up.
I mean, I'd like to say this would be a historic performance, but I think we're going to see this a lot this season from the Dukes.
Absolutely. Depending who some of these teams we play. We know we have to Oak Park twice, which could very well be an interesting one. We have Hinsdale Central again, Glenbard West, who's always like a competitive team. They're always frankly good.
They seem competitive at every sport always. I mean, those Hilltoppers always have a good program and seemingly for everything. You saw Huff this year at the basketball level. Also beat the Dukes in football, giving everyone a run for their money.
Yeah, one of our announcers, Ryan Piquel, says they aren't very good at baseball. That's the one thing he likes to say. He's like, nope, they're not good at baseball. Oh, okay.
Ryan also likes to think that he's better than everyone at baseball, so we'll take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Looks like they're giving it to Downers here in the Dukes area. Is it a timeout? Yes, it is. Clock will still run through the timeout. Clock will continue to tick. Dukes on top 16-0 over Downers South. No, it won't. The clock stops at 5:43. They just let it run for a little while. Doesn't run through the timeout, Bobby. 5:43 to go. Dukes on top 16-0. We could easily see a 20-pack here. We'll have to see. York Sports Network will be right back after this timeout. And we're back. By we, I mean me. Baseball needed help. Bobby's running some cords. HS up by. They could build on that lead. We'll see if they can. Downers possession in the Dukes zone. Looking to get themselves on the board here. Really just looking to generate a good look. Selfridge has not been tested much in this one whatsoever. Selfridge throwing a beautiful ball all the way to the midline, getting the Dukes into the possession early. And with the running clock, Dukes have no reason to go quick. They're continuing to just hold on to possession here. Do best. Deep hole runs back. Midi runs over. Now they have all short sticks on the correct side of the field. And in Rieger now, feeding it, letting another reset happen. Duke still just passing it around the horn. No need to rush. That's Brian Grant getting it inside. Checked. The ball's open inside the crease. What a pickup and score. That was a beaut. The ball was on the ground, scooped it up, put it high right above the goalie's stick. Man, this is not going to be a fun stat line to look at later for Downers South. Goalie already given up 17 goals with 4 minutes to go in this third quarter. Looks like Aiden Wicklow now is out there to do the face-off for the Dukes. If you're just tuning in, Dukes are on top 17-0. Just over 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. It's been nothing but Dukes, to say the least. Both sets of brothers have seen plenty of playing time, the Riegers and the Wicklows. Dukes looking to get revenge for what happened in 2019 in the sectional semifinals. Hoping to even be able to see that tournament. Who knows with the COVID regulations? It looks like it's on track to happen over the summer. Only time will tell, as the Dukes totally look like they would be real competitors to walk away as a sectional champion and potentially state if that was able to happen. And it looks like Selfridge is no longer on the field. They've sent Selfridge to the sideline. That brings Patty in the goal. Patty out there now. We were expecting him to start in this one after he had football during the last game, but nonetheless, both goalies special in what they do, get plenty of playing time. And Selfridge really didn't see many shots on goal, so shouldn't be too stressful of an outing for Patty. Still just sending it around the horn. It's Aiden Wicklow. He wants to go to work. Puts a move on, shoots from the top, and that's in. Absolute snipe by the older Wicklow brother, Aiden Wicklow. Beautiful. Right from outside the horn. Just nailed it, top corner. It's one of those shots you practice your entire life. Just sniping the corners. Wicklow does it to a T right there. Duke's up 18-0. Will we see them get up 20 before Downers even gets themselves on the scoreboard? It's certainly looking like that will happen, but only time will tell. Duke's looking to keep that near perfect face-off record in this one. We'll see if it can continue. And it does quite easily, as Boyd Puckett has no problem getting possession and getting across the midline. Puckett to Flores. Flores now easily gets it past the 20. Looking to get it to Axe. The pass isn't there, so he just holds it himself. They're not going to apply the pressure. Why not? Dukes looking to extend the lead to 19. Sloppy passing recovered. Good defense there from Downers. Duke's still able to recover with more energy than Downers. Now it's Drew Kircher. Kircher to Rieger. Reset up top now with Seamus Wicklow. Wicklow gets it down low to Boysen. We saw Boysen in the football game last night. That absolute domination. We were talking about, would he be playing quarterback this season? Would Max Assad? Max Assad certainly won that job the game before, passing for the second most single-game yards in York Dukes history. Man, Dukes really ended the season off in a special way with Max Assad under the helm, and that's a great pass to the crease. Bobbled and saved by the Dukes. And that's the end of the third quarter. Third quarter commences. We'll have 12 more minutes of York Dukes lacrosse. Dukes on top 18-0 over Downers South. Really, Downers hasn't showed any form of life. Small bench. Lots of energy being used. Dukes really never had a doubt on this one. Running clock will still be implemented in the fourth. York Sports Network will be right back after this intermission. And we're back. 12 minutes to go in this one. Duke's up 18-0, looking to reach a monumental 20-0 lead. Doesn't look like they'll have any problem doing so, but who knows? Dukes continue this face-off streak. Seems like they've won at least 15 in a row here. It looks like they will with little to no problem. Possibly. Oh, great sweep. Gets it to the Dukes attackman. Bit of a scrum after a few ground balls. That's Mikey Boysen with it. Boysen fanning it up top to McNeil. McNeil to Tereja. Tereja looking to get inside, resets the offense. Tereja to Rieger. Rieger to McNeil. McNeil inside. No. Nearly able to be buried by Drew Kircher. Would have been his fourth. But the pass was just off the mark. And now it's Downers looking to get something going. Pass too high. Recovery by the Dukes. More of the same. Deep pull comes over the midline. A midi will have to stay back. And he comes right back over. Midi gets back over. But Downers now able to get possession. Will they be able to do something with it? They had an open guy streaking. Deep pull just didn't see him. But now they're able to maintain possession. This is the longest Downers possession we've seen in quite a while, believe it or not. Can they do anything with it? Just over a minute into the final quarter. Duke's still up by 18. Downers looking to not have a donut up on the scoreboard. Great save by Patty. Patty keeps the shutout alive. So it looked like Downers, that was a very good attempt. We haven't seen that much of that from them all day. I'm sure Campfield will make sure to let them know that that's not what they wanted to happen there. Don't give up any good looks regardless of the score. But that's a great save by Patty to keep the shutout going. Downers possession yet again. The streaking cutter comes over the middle. That's Johnson. Johnson with the shot, scores! The Dukes will not complete the shutout. Johnson with the deep pull. Does it himself, comes over, does a little swim move, absolutely hurls it at Patty, who gives up the first goal of the game. It's now 18-1. Downers will have something to grow on. At least they were not donutted on the scoreboard. Didn't let the Dukes get to 20 before they got to 1. They get on the scoreboard 18-1 now with 9:30 to go in this fourth quarter. Wicklow now looking to win the draw. Tied up, in comes St. Clair to help. Doesn't get there in time. St. Clair recovers with the deep pull. Another ground ball scrum right around the 30. Bodies of both colors all over the place. Who's going to come up with it, white or blue? This is interesting. Whistle's finally blown as possession has been taken. Do we have the first penalty of the game? No, it looks like they just called possession for Downers. Interesting. That was almost a 30-second ground ball to no prevail. Leads to Downers south possession. All of a sudden with a bit of momentum, trying to grow something going into their next affair. That's Gavin Klein. Klein going to work against Espinosa. St. Clair forces the turnover. And it's Duke's ball. Now that's sophomore Lance McCann with it. Scored his first career goal on 421 at Hinsdale Central. I'm sure many more of those will be to come. Still a full year this year, a full year next year, and a full year after that to go on this roster. And here he is. Bobby's back. Back from the baseball. Everything go okay over there, Bobby?
Yeah, Coach Cloud almost got tossed. He almost got thrown out. Very interesting. It's going fine over there.
Tell you what, interesting over here. Downer South got their first goal. Deep hole ran the length of the field and just absolutely ripped it through the 5-hole of Patty. Patty's also in a goal, by the way, now.
Oh, they brought him in. That's good to see.
Duke's up 17. 6:57 to go. They will not shut out Downers, but can they hit the 20 mark?
I think that's what they're looking for right now. Is this the deep hole?
Yes, there he is. They have a new spark on offense. Going a little too fast, throws it over the head of his teammate there. But they have some newfound life on the offensive end after bringing deep holes across the line. I mean, it worked once. Why not try it again? What do you have to lose at this point?
Exactly. 6.5 to go in this fourth quarter. It's been relatively... Second half has gone a lot quicker.
That's what a running clock will do for you. Even if there's 18 goals.
Right.
Clock not stopping. It's just going to go. There's only 6 minutes to go in this one. Looking to get his name on the board to Lance McCann. All these Dukes want to get a goal. McCann dishes it off now.
Pulaski circling around. And there will be Rieger who tried to win the ground ball battle. You're right, these deep holes are... That goes out of bounds.
All of a sudden, this game plan for Downers after a single deep hole goal is just get it to the deep holes across the midline. Clock stopped at 5:32. Dukes are on top, 18-1. We are witnessing a blowout, folks. This is going to be a special season for the York Dukes. York Sports Network will take a break at this time out. We will be right back in just a few minutes.
5.5 to go from the stadium here on the campus of York High School. It is, like Age has been saying, it's been a blowout. It's not even been close throughout all of this. Down South bringing it up. Our very first lacrosse coverage of the year. I think it's been a very interesting one. We wish we could have seen a better game. That was a great interception there by Troy Walker. Kind of stuck his hand out with the stick. Let's see, is he going to get an assist off this? Doesn't look
That's
like.
just great ball movement.
And it was a great shot by Ryan Wolf. Thought about it. He's like, no, we're going to hold off. And then he shoots it, beats him above that left shoulder of the goalie to make it 19-1, and York may get their first 20 spot.
And, as you said, this is the first lacrosse coverage of the year. There's going to be a lot more of this to come with me and Bobby on the mic. This is going to be fun, Bobby. We're witnessing firsthand how special this team is. We could see them make a very serious run deep into June this year. And I'm all for it. This is going to be a good time.
Absolutely. And it's just we always want to see success. And we've seen success with cross country and track for so many years at York.
And it looks like this lacrosse team's taken that step up to be one of the prestiges of the York Dukes programs. It really does.
There's a lot of sports that they get to the playoffs. You think they have a really good chance, but they just get met up against some really good teams like basketball past few years. But this is a lacrosse team. If they're meeting up against anyone good, it's gonna be deep in the playoffs. It's not gonna be the first round to them meeting up against Hinsdale Central. They just can't get ahead of themselves is really the big thing.
Correct. This Dukes team has to stay humble, which they do a great job of doing. I mean, the picture of that would be EJ Espinosa.
Oh, yeah.
But really everyone on this team does a great job of it. They've done a great job of it here, continuing to run the clock down. Under 4 minutes now left in this one. Will the Dukes hit 20? That's the question today. Dukes on top 19-1.
Also, you mentioned Espinosa about him being a humble person. Josh Temple is really the captain of this team, and he's a guy who can get rowdy, but he knows he likes to keep this team in check. He says, we're not just going to be the best players. We want to be the best team, and we have to show that by being laser focused and stuff like that and enjoying wins, but then getting right focused for another game. Like last night, a huge win over St. Ignatius. That was a fun bus ride back. But it's not even, it's just basically a 15, 16-hour turnaround. And here you are playing against Downers Grove South. And not really a game where they really kind of slept walk. They played their style.
Absolutely. And at least Downers got on the board. They have that going for them.
That is true. 2:35 with this running clock as it's whizzed by. And a sloppy pass that just went too high. It's out. We'll go down with. Is it going down or south? I think it will.
Taking their time to grab the ball out there.
Interesting thing about baseball when I was over there, Ryan Piquel was pitching. Matter of fact, he was up there.
ISN alum.
He was up there on the hill throwing, so that was fun.
How are they doing out there?
It is a 10-9 lead for Oak Park.
Oh, wow. So Ryan's getting lit up a bit, huh?
Well, Ryan did not start. He came out of the bullpen, but York had a 6 spot that they put up in, I believe, either 4th or 5th inning, in a really big start.
Well, I'll tell you what, this York lacrosse team's looking like they're consistently going to be putting up more runs than the baseball team. This is just, I hate to use the word fun, but that's what it is. As a York fan, it's fun to watch a team from the school finally be so great.
Have so much success at the next level. Minute 20 to go.
Speaking of the next level, we have a couple college commits on this team that I'd just like to give a shout out to. Josh Temple, 4th year on varsity. He'll be going to Kenyon College. Ryan Wolf, his 3rd year on varsity. He'll be going to Wingate University. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of these guys end up playing at the next level. I would be shocked to not see Ryder and Will.
Right, yeah.
At the next level. Lance McCann probably can go anywhere he wants for lacrosse. I mean, this is going to be, we're going to see a lot of college commits out of this program in the next couple of years.
And you see Blake and Andon Rieger there as well, who you could easily put themselves there. York they might not try to hit 20.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to hold the ball, run the clock.
Unless they try to go for a last-second shot.
Anthony Flores doesn't have any intentions of doing so.
Flores had a few goals last night in that win over St. Ignatius early on. I've known Anthony for few years now, and he's been earlier in elementary school. He was much more of a soccer player, and then he took up lacrosse, and he's been really well at lacrosse. He's found it more enjoying than he has soccer.
Lacrosse is a great sport, man. Very fast-paced, especially in comparison to something like soccer. You see a 19-1 score in soccer, that would be a historical event. In lacrosse, it's an everyday thing. Dukes, 19, Downers South 1. We just witnessed a blowout. This is going to be a lot of fun to come, Bobby. AJ Switek, Bobby Hessling on the call. We'll be doing this lacrosse all the time. First home affair that we have covered. Dukes win by 18. York Sports Network, your place for all York sports, signing off.